As she tried to save as many children as she could, leaning over them, Rudakubana attacked her also. She did all she could before escaping, but suffered 5 stab wounds to her head, neck, back, shoulder blade and arm. She required a blood transfusion. She also suffered fractures to a spinal vertebrae, a rib, a shoulder blade, and all caused by severe force.
Back again with another video, and I'm trying to build this channel. It's something that's rather upsetting, and it's something that's fairly current right now. It is about Axel, the arsehole. I don't really want to use his real name because I would call him Axel the bastard, Axel the idiot, and that would be tame because he is a nasty, horrible, mindless, mental ill, evil killer. Welcome to Don's Courtroom. So Axel arsehole was sentenced. So let's have a video clip of the judge sentencing this person with mental illness who stabbed 3 girls and was attempting to stab a whole room full of young girls. They were just being girls. They were at a community centre and they were just enjoying themselves, making like daisy chains or something, and they were going to enjoy some a dance class. And I'll give my viewpoint in a minute of what I think should happen to this evil person, but let's just watch the video.
And Jonathan Hayes was an adult working in a different part of the upstairs to the building. After he heard the disturbance, he went out to see what had happened and was attacked with a knife. Rudakubana stabbed him in the leg, causing a deep wound as he tried to kill him. He was only saved when another witness appeared. I have read each of the victim's personal statements, and many have been read out to the court. They are all deeply moving. The children were particularly vulnerable because of their very young age, being 7, 6, and 9 respectively. Thirdly, the physical suffering that he caused as he repeatedly stabbed them. Fourthly, there were 3 murders. Fifthly, at the time he carried out these murders, he also attempted to kill 10 more, 8 of whom were also very young children. Sixthly, the severity of the injuries caused to the victims. Seventhly, he produced highly toxic poison ricin, which he was very likely to use at some time had he not committed these offences. In mitigation for this offending, Rudakubana is still only 18 years old. However, I consider that his age has already provided him with a substantial reduction in his sentence, because it means that he has avoided a whole life term. Whilst he has entered guilty pleas, saving the families and victims the pain of a trial, he cannot claim to have shown any remorse. His unsolicited comments in the police station made clear his feelings. However, lack of remorse is not an aggravating factor. I have read evidence within a statement of an assistant head teacher which describes how Rudakubana's early years at school developed from a normal student to one who became increasingly threatening to those he felt had wronged him, leading to his exclusion. None of this gives any indication of what he was to do on the 29th of July last year. I have read the intermediary assessment report dated the 24th of September 2024, in which its author said that he presented as having high-functioning autism and that he does not have any associated learning disabilities. The report found that he had some communication and attention difficulties. None of this offered any explanation for this offending. No further expert evidence has been provided on his behalf. I've taken into account the overarching principles sentencing children and young people. The fact that he's now 18 years old does not make the guideline irrelevant. However, I'm not persuaded that his emotional age is different to his chronological age. I will give him the appropriate discount to reflect the fact that whilst Tom was 18, he was still young. In sentencing, I will impose concurrent sentences, meaning they will all be served at the same time. However, I will treat the murder offences in counts 1 to 3 as the lead offences and take into account all of the total offending when fixing the minimum term of custody he must serve. Also, I have in mind the totality of the sentences, requiring me to take a step back and consider whether they're just and proportionate, and I conclude that they are. The guilty pleas will allow some small discount on the sentence because they were entered so late, on the first day of the trial. I turn to the attempted murder offences in counts 4 to 13. Each of these offences requires me to impose concurrent sentences of custody for life under Section 272 of the Sentencing Act 2020 and Category 3C. I'm now going to sentence Axel Rudakubana, having explained my reasons. On counts 1 to 3 murder, I sentence him to custody for life with a minimum term which he must serve in custody of 52 years, less the time he's served already. He's been in custody for 175 days on remand, which will be credited. Therefore, the minimum term is 51 years and 190 days. On counts 4 to 11, I sentence him concurrently to custody for life with a minimum term of 18 years, less 175 days served, on each count concurrently with each other. Allowing for his time served on remand, the minimum term on those counts is 17 years and 190 days. On counts 12 and 13, I sentence him concurrently to custody for life with a minimum term of 16 years, less his time served on remand, on each count concurrently with each other, leading to a minimum term on those counts of 15 years and 190 days. On counts 14 and 16, I sentence him to 18 months custody concurrently with each other and all other offences. He will pay the appropriate amount under 18 statutory charge, which will be entered on the court record. Accordingly, in total, I sentence Rudakubana to 13 sentences of custody for life and a minimum term to be served in custody.
So because he wasn't quite 18 at the time, but he is 18, he was given 51 years. 51 years. If I was 30, that would be enough. But 51 years. So when he's 69, 70, 71, he'll be out. He could be out to stab other little girls or to do something worse. This is not right, in my view. And I will tell you something, you won't suffer in prison. He doesn't suffer. Okay, your freedom is taken away. It's quite a big thing. But they're not. In the UK, they're put on a wing. It's called protection wing. He is given privileges to shut them up, really. They're not put in with other prisoners. So this talk, oh, wait till the other prisoners get hold of him, they won't like him. No, they don't generally like them. That's why they separate them, because the authorities don't want the hassle and the trouble. I think what should happen with, let's get this closer, shall we? I think, and perhaps I'm a bit deranged in thinking, am I deranged in thinking? I think he should be tortured every day of his life, kept alive, kept cold, kept hungry, kept in real pain, just that sort of enough pain to keep him alive. So we give him water, maybe a bit of bread, stale bread, manky, horrible tasting bread that you do things with, or you give it, keeping him very unhealthy, perhaps giving him a few diseases at the same time, making him suffer like those little girls suffered, because they suffered pain. It wasn't as quick as you'd think, although it was quick, but not quick if you know what I mean. But it's horrible, and also the suffering of the family as well. So I think he should suffer every day. But then reasoning comes to my mind, and I think maybe not, maybe put him in prison or do what they do in America, the death penalty, and just inject them, shall we say, humanely. Because a problem that I've got, the taxpayer is paying for this. These people, these types of people in prison. I've got no problem with criminals do something wrong, they're in prison, taxpayer has to pay. Different subject, but we could talk about them working for their keep, as they used to, when they used to sew mailbags and things. Maybe. What do you think should happen to him? Should he be given to the family that is suffering? Perhaps they can dish out what they want to do to him.
Game over.
Now, let's go into mental health. So he was obviously mentally disturbed, had mental illness. He also had manuals of Al-Qaeda, explanation manuals from Al-Qaeda of how to do things. So it was terrorist orientated. The trouble is, people with this sort of mind, they think it's justified. They think it's really good that they did their work. And they would see it that these girls were in the line of fire. So when something has a mistake by the military, say the American military or our military, and innocent people get blown up or shot because there was a mistake, where you get 50 nasty people get blown up, and along with the 50 nasty people there are kind of 10 or 5, 10, 15 innocent people within that. They're in the line of fire, so they've got shot. So perhaps he would see this as that they're in the line of fire in order for the ultimate goal of whatever they want to achieve. Upset with what we've done when we've bombed an evil tyrant like Saddam and brought him to justice. That was wrong, and condemned Bin Laden and found Bin Laden doing what we need to do to them and shooting the Taliban. He would see that as wrong. So he would see that as justified, and he would sort of say, well, you've innocent kids got bombed when you drop your bombs, so I'm just doing the same thing. So that's how they would see it. So in their mind, they don't think they've done anything wrong, and they're jubilant that they've done what they've done and made a point and made it known and got the attention. In the courtroom, unremorseful, this Axel murderer, he was chanting and shouting at the judge. No remorse in his mind. So you can't change his mind. You can't make him suffer in that way. But yeah, it's funny how the human brain wants to cause suffering for someone that's committed those sort of acts, isn't it, really? But, yeah, I wouldn't be proud of the fact, and I probably would come down from that feeling initially and act within the law. What do you think? Put down in the comments if you think that was the right thing that the judge did. 51 years. They will go to a prison with privileges as they do in a separate wing, not connected with any of the prisoners. The prisoners that he will mix with is prisoners like him, evil, nasty people who have done things to children, etc. So that's who he mix with. He'll be given full access, I should imagine, to education. He was already well educated, intelligent lad, yeah, of course. And he'd be given things to do, so that's how he will have to channel his mind and live. He'll probably be given Al-Qaeda to get Al-Qaeda manuals to get excited about and watch videos of them. That'll keep him going, won't it, for 51 years until he's 70. Then he'll get out, and then he's got another 30 odd years left of life, so he can commit what he wants then, can't he? Disappear off the radar, go to another country, and he'd be kept and fed all of his life by taxpayers. So there we go. That's it. And it happens quite often. Sometimes those type of killers don't get punished enough, and sometimes they get away with it completely, so they get off. What is going on? Certainly with the UK sentencing, perhaps this should come along to Don's court and see what we can dish out together as a team. I must have one subscriber by now. We're all a team and we all work together, and I hope that your life ticks along without any sadness and the problems. It is hard to hold back the tears sometimes when you see those, and you feel for those children. Thank you for subscribing. Please subscribe, it's free. Please like if you do like. I do have another channel, Aldon's Reviews and True Crime, and I also have other channels for other subjects. Anyway, remember, when you go to bed tonight, don't have any nasty dreams. Thank you for watching.